Fatherland videos. We have a story read tonight from Alternative Reality. Alternative History, short story from Gothic Fantasies. And tonight's read is about I need that paper. Tonight's story is called The Bondage Tribe by Monica Butler. This book is presented by Allison Morton and Flame Tree Publishing. We're here on page 20. They stood eyes staring ahead, their backs straight, as people walked past the shop, their heads down, too busy on their mobiles, having conversations with friends or loved ones to care about them. No one cared. They were taught well by their oppressors. Don't move, don't speak, hands by their side, trying not to flinch, not to blink. They were known as the Bondage Tribe. Undesirables, as far as the majority of Britain were concerned. Lester Bennett kept his focus, even as the carousel moved slowly around. His light brown eyes were fixed, as he had been taught since childhood. He saw the sales assistant. He saw the sales assistant, a weary man with a check shirt, black trousers, taut sense, and thinning black hair, standing near those people. Stuck on the damn carousel, looking at Lester with the same disdain he endured his whole life. Lester stared ahead, unblinking, not at the security guard outside, armed with the electric poker, ready to come into the shop if there was the slightest bit of trouble. Lester kept straight as the carousel turned once more around their feet, forced to stand. Hold on, y'all, I'm messing up. I'm reading some of these sentences twice in a row. Let me start back over up in the first two sentences right here somewhere. It's the third sentence. He saw the sales assistant, a weary man with a check shirt, black trousers, and thinning black hair, standing near those people, stuck on the damn carousel, looking at Lester with the same disdain he'd endured his whole life. Lester stared ahead, unblinking, not at the security guard outside, armed with his electric poker, ready to come inside the shop if there was the slightest bit of trouble. Lester stared ahead, unblinking, not at the security guard outside, armed with his electric poker, ready to come into the shop if there was the slightest bit of trouble. Lester kept straight at the carousel, turned on once more inside the shop. His fellow bondage members were tethered to the carousel by electronic cuffs around their feet, forced to stand like dumb mules for 14 hours each day. They were only allowed to come off for half an hour, where they were given cold sandwiches and lukewarm tea, English hospitality at its finest. There were 4 other carousels further inside the shop, the same mute people stuck to the turning wheels, 4 at each one, the bright lights making their clothing stick to their backs each day. He glanced at Natalie, a tall, elegant black woman who had been in the shop front window as long as him. For months, 3 weeks, and 6 days, he seen the hope go from her eyes, witnessed the tears she sometimes shed at the carousel, kept turning hour after hour. As Lester counted the next rotation of the wheel, he seemed permanently stuck on. A middle-aged white woman entered the premises, her once blonde hair now a shoulder-length gray. She wore a maroon coat and a frilly white silk scarf. The shop assistant rushed towards her. "Hello, can I help you?" "Oh, I do hope so. I wish to make a purchase." Lester raised his black eyebrows while he listened. One of the few things he could still do. "Well, I can certainly assist you with that." He sounded like he was a pathetic, money-hungry peddler. Lester tried to stop the burn which erupted each day in his chest, though it would not dissipate. It never would. The woman walked slowly around the carousel as though she was in a museum looking at stuffed artifacts. Although she knew days ago which one of these creatures she wanted, it was always a good idea to think about each item she bought carefully. Harriet Watkins went near the bronze counter, tapping her indigo-painted fingernails on the surface. "I'm interested in the one right at the front, the big black man with the enormous chest and the sullen face." Lester kept listening, not looking at the woman. "How much for him?" "Well, he highly valued. The price reflects this. You see, he's one of those." "What do you mean?" "Well, he's one of those, shall we say, has been a little bit of trouble in the past." Harriet took a step back. "Oh, one of those," Harriet confirmed, emphasizing the last word. So the sales assistant was aware she understood every word he just said, suppressing a smirk. Lester realized they were talking about him. He didn't care about being a troublemaker. He liked it. One of his previous owners tried to beat him with his shoe, so Lester hit him with his fist, knocked the man out cold. While trying to escape, he was captured and sent to the prison where Bondage tribe members who were too much trouble were placed. He been sent there twice, survived both times. Some of those prisoners were burnt down during the Bondage uprising of 2055. But for every one of the oppressors that was killed, 20 of the enslaved were murdered in their place. Yes, he's one of those proud ones. He known for being somewhat troublesome. Here, let me show you. The sales assistant tapped some words into a small keyboard on the counter. Immediately, a vast screen appeared on the white wall. As the sales assistant pointed to the screen, all the details of Lester's past misdemeanors were shown to Harriet could see. This boy has a number of issues. He's tried to run away twice, that we know of. Harriet tooted as though this was an unspeakable act of treason. Again, Lester wanted to smile, but couldn't. Not only there was a security guard outside the store, but there was also an armed one inside too. Well, these people never learn. The rise of 2055 do not seem to have made much difference to their mentality. It's good that the government crushed it. I still hear talk of rebellion, she talked in her hushed tones. Yet Lester was adept at hearing even in the tiniest of voices. He also noticed the burly security guard dressed in all black, giving him a warning glance. Rebellion? It won't happen. The Bondage tribe needs to know their place. Look at what happened in Canada, Harriet blustered. They did away it in 2012. They've always been contrary, like the Irish. Lester kept staring at the carousel turn again. Ireland remains obstinate in its refusal to have anyone in bondage. In Ireland, a group called the Radar Sorries wanted to free all the slaves of their bondage. They were so hated by the British government that no Irish people were allowed to enter Britain. The Irish government retaliated and did the same to the British. It was an open secret that Radar Sorries gave weapons to any of the bondage tribes to help overthrow their oppressors, and that the Irish government was secretly funding them to do so. How could Canada possibly think of getting rid of the bondage tribe? Think of the millions of millicreams they are losing each day. Lester set his full lips in a tight line. Millicreams is the digital currency that most countries use to buy and sell enslaved, like cattle, not people. Lester observed. He wanted to stamp his feet in the fear, yet these were stuck to the man, the damn machine. Indeed, conceded the sales assistant, rubbing his chin. That's why Britain is one of the richest nations in the world, and Canada and Ireland are two of the poorest. You cannot have wealth without the enslaved. You've seen what's going on in Argentina, haven't you? Oh yes, madam. It's terrible what's going on there. Hundreds of people killed by the enslaved. Now, they'll run the country just like in Chile. Rumor is Mexico and Brazil will fall next. All these uprisings are very upsetting. Harry glanced quickly at Lester, who refused to give her eye contact. Inwardly, he rejoiced as the enslaved rose in the countries and defeated their masters. Lester's mouth twitched. He wanted these rebellions to continue. It won't spread here, Harriet said, in a controlled manner. The last uprising was 5 years ago. The enslaved would be too scared to try again. They would be obliterated, like last time. Walking to the front of the shop, Harry eyed the next purchase. She looked him up and down as the carousel kept turning. Noticing her interest, the sales assistant stopped the carousel wheel that Lester was on. He's very big, Harriet cooed, more to herself than the eager shop assistant. Yes, very tall. No, I mean, he's very muscular. He'll be a good addition to the garden. Turning away, she addressed the shop assistant. How much? Well, it would be... The shop assistant showed her the amount on a small monitor in front of him. She nodded her head. Do you take table or rock? Of course. The sales assistant took the card from Harriet, placing it over the card reader. Immediately, her details appeared on a large screen, including her date of birth, address, and more importantly, her income. Once he saw her ability to pay, the sales assistant gave a broad smile. Cockroach, Lester thought bitterly. He would wish he could take the electric poker and put 100 volts through this annoying man's body. Lester gave a swift glance at his new owner, while the security guard took care to remove the electric cuffs with the electric poker ready in case of a resistance. Boy, this is your lucky day, the sales assistant chirped after he completed the transaction. This is your new owner, Mrs. Watkins. What do you say to the lady? Lester turned and looked at Harry directly, not giving anything away. Thank you, he said. It was a short drive to Harry's house in an electric car. Lester glanced at his new owner. Her face was podgy, her lips smeared with too much lipstick, and she adorned herself with far too much perfume. Lester tried to sneeze as the smell wafted through the air. It was the smell of a woman trying to hold onto her youth when it was already falling from her grasp. Harry's lime green eyes were like the most of his owners, hollow, vacant, and with no warmth to them. To put to Lester's surprise, she wanted him to sit up front with her. Most of the time, the slaves were put in the back of a vehicle. Sometimes they were stuffed in the trunk. Lester didn't like this. He hoped this woman had purchased him to work in the garden, nothing more. As the security guards removed Lester from the shop, placing him in Harry's car, and sales assistants handed the keys to Harry's for Lester's electronic cuffs, the enslaved man didn't make a sound. His calm demeanor unnerved Harriet. Most enslaved people were nervous, frightened even. Not this one. Lester seemed calm in his own brown suit. The enslaved were always put in a decent attire, as it made them more marketable and interested customers. Lester blinked his eyes, adjusting to the sunlight which streamed through the car windows. It took some time for his eyes to return to the normal once he released from the confines of the shop with its bright lights. Lester, this is your name. The man looked straight ahead. You can speak. Yes, that is my name. His voice was low and deep. Lester, you are well. You are part of the Bondage tribe. You belong to me. As such, you will do what I ask. If I want a cup of tea late at night, you will fetch it without hesitation. If I want to make my way back, if I want my back scrubbed or my toilet cleaned, you will do so. You are mine to do with as I wish. If you obey my commands, we should get on fine. From now on, I will call you boy. This will be your name. Do you understand, boy? Lester turned and gave Harriet a stare, an intrepidable stare, cold, brown eyes that weren't staring at her, but through her. Yes, I understand. Momentarily, Harriet's hand shook, regaining her equilibrium. Harry continued the rest of the journey in silence, much to Lester's relief. Arriving at the vast house, he noticed the carpeted floors and expensive furniture. This house was the same as the others Lester had been in. Harry immediately led Lester to the rear garden, a vast green lane filled with fuchsias and daffodils. Lester didn't mind working outdoors. Harry droned on about a man with gray hair who stood silently watched the two other black men as they toiled in the garden, an electric poker by his side. That's Cyril? He's the chief guard, a part of the security guard of the front of the house. Lester hadn't seen any other male present at the house. This could work out to his advantage. He works part-time during the day. At night, you will be in your quarters. Boy, you will stay there until 6 a.m., where you will have breakfast with the others, and then at 6:30 a.m., you will begin your work in the garden. When the weather is bad, you will be required to do whatever tasks are required inside the house. Understood, boy? Perfectly, Lester said. I may require some assistance at night for other chores, some which might require male assistance. Cyril sniggered, taking a deep breath. Lester knew what that meant. I'm sure someone like you is used to females by now. Lowering his eyes, Lester didn't want this woman to touch any part of him. Mom, Aunt Lithis is on the phone. I'll be back in a short while. By the way, I'm planning to make another purchase. Really? A pale, thin white girl who couldn't have been older than 18 came into view, her blonde hair tied back. What does he look like? He's a white slave by the name of Tim Connors. Do you know him, boy? No, I don't, Lester said, looking directly at Harriet. Oh, God. Don't buy a white slave, Mom. They're much lazier than the black ones. I'm buying him for you, my peddler. But the last one was so disappointing. We had to take him back to the shop. Yes, he was so inexperienced for you. Don't worry. This Tim character is 25, and I've been informed that he used to be married. Plenty of experience for our purposes. As Lester glanced at the two other black men who kept their eyes down as they planted the seed that they hoped would blossom, he wondered whether these two women had already used the slaves for whatever purpose they wanted. They're not a vigorous either, Rosie declared, smirking. Rosie, Harriet Adonis, laughing as she did so. Must you be so vulgar? Well, it's good that the government made a legal requirement for working class whites only the benefits to accept any job or become part of the enslaved. Lester shouldn't have been shocked by the woman's callous attitude. This one's big and strong, Rosie purred, stroking Lester's hand with her forefinger. Emily, Lester recoiled. She gave Lester an expectant smile. Rosie, I'm buying Tim for you. This boy is mine. That's when Lester knew he had to escape. The chance didn't present itself until 2 weeks later. At 2 in the morning, Lester was awoken by the buzz of the intercom in his room, near to where the dogs were kept. He was ordered by Harriet to come to her bedroom. With a huge sigh, he knew what that meant. Early, Harriet had indicated to Lester her desire to spend the night with him. At night, he was locked inside the room. Harriet pressed the electronic button lock, which allowed Lester to leave his room. Crossing the vast garden, he made his way inside the house. The locked electronic cuffs still bound to his feet and hands. He was adept at walking with the shackles on. Swiftly, Lester was inside the house, climbing the stairs to Harry's bedroom. When he entered, Lester found Harry sprawled on the bed, wearing a shimmering black nightdress. Without a word, she got up and started to unbutton Lester's shirt, planting sloppy kisses on his chest. Lester pulled back her hair, then kissed her forcefully on the mouth. Shocked, Harry looked at him, then smiled. If we are to do this properly, I need to be unchained. Harriet thought for a moment before grinning at him. Of course. Hurriedly, she got the keys, unlocking Lester's hand. As Harry bent down and unlocked both of Lester's feet, he picked up a glass of lamp from the bedside table and smashed it against the left side of Harriet's head. She crashed to the floor, blood seeping from her wound. Hearing the noise, Rosie entered the room. She screamed, running back to her bedroom. Lester moved quickly, catching Rosie inside her bedroom. With one arm, Lester picked her up and threw her into a bag, a big wardrobe. As Rosie continued to screech, he locked the wardrobe door. Going back to Harry's bedroom, Lester went and got the electronic cuffs. Re-entering Rosie's bedroom, He placed them on Rosie's hands and feet, then locked them. Finding a red scarf, he scuffed into Rosie's mouth. Her screams became whimpers, locking Rosie once more in the wardrobe. Lester quickly went back to Harry's bedroom. He didn't have much time. During his time inside the house, Lester noted where Harry kept her safe, in the bedroom drawer of her chest drawers. Immediately, Lester got the safe, deciphering that the password on the safe would be something personal like a birthday. He heard Harriet talking to one of her sisters on the phone about Rosie's 19th birthday party. From this, Lester deduced what date she was born. He punched his numbers on the electronic keyboard. Automatically, the safe popped open and saw Harriet's table rack card. Grabbing the card, Lester went to the desk, switching Harriet's laptop on. Taking out a small metal button from his sock, Lester pressed it against the laptop screen. Suddenly, he was inside Harriet's laptop, bypassing security on the computer by using her card and the metal button. Lester went to the Tabarak website and hacked into her account. Then he transferred the amount that was paid for his purchase to the bank account that would be difficult to trace. Radar Reese wanted all funds to be paid to the slave for Bondage trial to be returned so that they could continue their fight to free the enslaved. As Lester finished the transaction, he could hear footsteps on the stairs. He turned around. "You took your time." "Sorry," Tim said, grinning at him. Trying to use an electronic screwdriver to unlock the door took forever. Lester gave a brief smile, then switched his attention back to the screen. "Did you get the details?" "They were in the safe." Using the small metal button once more, Lester put it on the back of Harry's mobile phone. Instantly, the phone opened, bypassing the security check for fingerprints and a PIN number. As Tim relayed a phone number for memory, Lester typed it into the phone. The call was picked up on the first ring. "We're ready," Lester said. Lester gave the man Harry's address. "We're on the way," the man replied, then hung up. An hour later, they arrived. Tim went to greet them. There was a loud laughter before the men came up the stairs. Harry still lay on the floor, motionless. A tall man entered the room, dressed in black leather jacket and black jeans. He gave a crooked smile. "Adrian Murphy," he said, shaking Lester by the hand. "Lester Bennett. My cousin has told me about you," he advised, grinning at Tim. Aiden was flanked by 3 other men. When Tim arrived at the shop where Lester was being held 2 months ago, the men struck up a friendship. During lunchtime at 8 at night, they talked about their lives. Then they chatted about what they really wanted to do, escape for good. Tim had a cousin, Aiden Murphy, who had happened to be one of the leading figures in Radar Reese. If they could get word in him about their plans, Tim knew Aiden would help them. Despite the government's best efforts, members of the outlaw group effortlessly came in and out of Britain. 4 weeks ago, Tim's aunt came into the shop pretending to be an interested purchaser. She got word back Aiden as to where Tim was being held. By the time Aiden managed to get into Britain, Tim had been sold to Harry. But this worked out much better. Storming the store would have attracted all manner of attention. Out here, where the next door neighbor was a full 10 minutes away, it would be much easier to pull off an escape and get out of the country without detection. Aiden glanced dismissively at Carrie's open eyes, moaning from pain caused by the head wound. "Take Tim downstairs," Aiden ordered. "Get him to the car." "What about the guard?" Lester asked. "Oh, him? He's been turned into toast, just like this one will." Tim smirked as he led out the room by the 2 men. Slowly, Aiden removed a small pump-action flare gun from his pocket. As he neared Harriet, Lester knew what would happen next. Seeing the man, Harriet tried to get to her feet, but stumbled, falling back to the floor. Aiden aimed the pump gun at her and fired. A shot of red flame came out. It covers Harriet's body from head to foot in flame. She screamed briefly, then stopped as flames incinerated her. After a brief time, all that was left with flame quickly died out was her skull. No skin, just bone. The smell of burnt flesh hung in the air, forcing us to swallow the bile in his throat. Where's the girl? She's in her bedroom. I locked her in her wardrobe. Aiden started to stride towards the door, the weapon still in his hand. Instinctively, Lester grabbed his arm. Aiden, she's just a girl. Surely we can let her alone. She's a witness, Aiden replied, his tone devoid of emotion. Don't forget, I'm here to help my cousin. He asked me to help you as a favor. I don't appreciate people that are ungrateful, Lester. Carefully, Lester removed his hand. Aiden left the room with a colleague in tow. As Lester heard them enter the girl's bedroom, he could hear Rosie's cries, her desperate plea for them not to kill her. Then he heard the prolonged scream as the pump-action flare gun was fired into her. The screaming suddenly stopped. Lester slumped onto the bed. He'd seen people being killed before. When he was 10, his own mother died. As he held her hand, running down a long street trying to escape, a huge cannonball was fired, except this one was filled with shards of large glass, severing heads. The police found Lester still clinging to his mom's severed right hand as they dragged him away to be enslaved once more. Are you planning to stay here? Aiden barked at the doorway, bringing Lester out of his reverie. 'Cause we can leave you if you like. Gathering himself, Lester got up, leaving the room. He watched as Aiden told the other man accompany him to meet them at the car. The man was downstairs, leaving Aiden and Lester alone. Aiden pointed the pump-action flare gun at him. You need to figure out what side you on, Lester. It's there, either them or us. You can't sit in the bloody middle, so you better make up your mind. Looking at the gun, Lester gave Aiden a direct stare. I'm on the side of the people who can free all the enslaved by any means at their disposal. Aiden thought for a moment, then gave Lester a lopsided grin. Good answer, he said, as he began to descend the stairs. This is war, Lester. Don't forget that. As Lester left the house, he climbed into the big car that would lead him to freedom. He began to think about whether his freedom was worth the lives of others. Tim laughed with Aiden and the others as they made the trip to Ireland, while Lester remained silent. All he could think about was the smell of the burnt flesh at the house, how it was so similar to his mother's, and whether he just traded one dictatorship for another.